Harry Schiller.
But can I sit down at my age? It'd be easier for me. So I'm coming as a lifetime transit rider and transit advocate and environmentalist, and I'm not satisfied with RIPTA's contribution to helping us fight congestion, fight pollution, fight climate change. We could be way more effective. So I think it is worth taking a look at the potential merger. You'll see that I do have some reservations, but it can help, for example, to coordinate the commuter rail operated by one agency and the buses by another. For example, related to that, there used to be a schedule combining the buses and trains at the airport all the way to Boston on the MBTA. That was printed in 2012. The fact that we have two separate agencies makes that kind of coordination harder to maintain. And by the way, I feel that similar to what was said by one of the earlier speakers, that the relation between RIDOT and RIPTA now, and I've been following this for decades, since the 70s, is actually pretty good. For example, coming together on Wickford Junction to combine the park and ride lots is an example of that. So I think that should be appreciated. There's also perhaps potential for savings whenever there's less agencies, but I guess the burden of proof, if there's any efficiencies, is on the people proposing the merger. But the main thing is that RIDOT, in the nature of things, has more clout. For getting grants, that could be one example. But also for sending letters, here's another example. Sending letters to the cities and towns asking them to remove snow, make sure snow is removed after storms on the sidewalks near the bus stops. I know my city and town, North Providence, they'll pay more attention to it if it comes from RIDOT. Pretty much everybody uses the roads, but only a small percentage in North Providence uses RIPTA. If there was a RIDOT connection for things like that, it would just count more. It would help us more. Another reservation, though, is that as this very public comments section shows, right now the structure allows the public to address the staff and the policymakers, and it gives us an opportunity to have you hear us. If there's a merger into RIDOT, frankly, this is a concern. And it's the truth that the current RIDOT leadership has canceled the quarterly Environment Council roundtables. That was a way to give input into RIDOT. That has happened once in the last 5 years. We know from the Kennedy Plaza proposal that major changes in what it would be like for passengers, we've been offered no opportunity for input into a major change so far, in spite of repeated requests. So, going forward, if there is to be a merger, that would require legislation to change the Enabling Act for RIPTA. I believe that the process for developing that legislation should have public input, especially from riders and users of RIPTA, into that development. I think we need to pay attention to the RIDOT mission, because the nature of things is that RIDOT is inherently going to be looking primarily at roads and bridges. I go back a long way with this, and I know some directors that were publicly and openly contemptuous of concerns for transit, even the train part of it. So that's not the case now, but it could be. So we need to address the RIDOT mission if there is to be a merger. And we have to assure public opportunities for regular public comment like these monthly board meetings do, or else it will be unacceptable, I believe, to people who follow this issue. So those are my comments, and I'll close with something entirely different, asking your support for one of the things that the transit riders have officially approved in their legislative agenda. We'd like your help, and that's Bill H7493. Oh, excuse me, that's not the bill I meant. That's a bill that you should pay attention to, because the legislature is mandating route changes. It's my state rep. No, there's a bill. I guess I brought the wrong one. There's a bill. Here it is. 7259. I'm asking for your help. It's to have consequences if a careless motorist, not paying attention or distracted or something, but not criminal, kills or injures someone on the road, a vulnerable road user, which could be Could be a pedestrian, a bicyclist, a highway worker, a RIDOT employee working on the road. Right now, if it's not criminal, if they're not drunk, and if they don't do a hit and run, and if you can't prove they did it on purpose, basically, there's basically no penalty, maybe an $85 fine for failure to yield right of way. That's not acceptable. It doesn't happen every year in Rhode Island, but over the years that I've been following this, there are plenty of instances where that has happened, even people being killed on the sidewalk, and nothing happened to the motorists. This just adopts the penalties, if that happens, to be the same as the enhanced penalties for injuring or killing someone that happened for other motor vehicle violations, but not for violations of pedestrian or bicycle or highway worker situations. So I ask you to take a look at 7259, whether you could do it as an individual, as a board, as a union, whatever. Help us by making the road safer for the people who aren't surrounded by tons and tons of metal. Thank you.